In the times when crazy hairstyles, bright clothing, and anything neon were the next big thing, blockbusters and MTV were just emerging, car design was taking on a sharp and angular look, and Japan was rapidly increasing its car production, surpassing the USA and becoming the world's largest car manufacturer. Many American buyers, instead of the recently troubled American cars due to the fuel crisis, opted for new Japanese cars, since they clearly outperformed the Americans when it came to reliability and affordability. By the time Japanese automakers introduced the Toyota Celica-Supra and the Nissan 300ZX, Mitsubishi also entered the market with their own GT. And today, we will talk about it. Let's begin. Back in 1977, Mitsubishi designers were tasked with developing the design of a car that would soon replace the Mitsubishi Celeste, a sports coupe based on the A70 Lancer platform. However, the successor was being developed on the A170 Lancer platform, the second generation model known as the EX, which would launch only 2 years later. While the early sketches of the successor didn't differ much from the current model, by 1978, Mitsubishi's partner company, Chrysler, also presented their own vision of the successor, featuring pop-up headlights and a sleeker body, later incorporating a more aerodynamic front end for an even sportier look. Chrysler's contributions significantly altered the design team's direction. It was later found that the Lancer EX platform was too small for a car like this, leading to further development based on the Mitsubishi Galant Lambda. Additionally, consideration was given to developing this car in an alternative notchback body style to compete with Honda Prelude and Nissan Silvia, since both of those cars were also notchbacks at the time, although this variant didn't make it into production compared to the regular hatchback. In 1982, for the 1983 model year, the Mitsubishi Starion was introduced, sold in the US from 1984 under the Dodge and Plymouth brands, later under Chrysler as well, named the Conquest. This was a classic case of badge engineering, where only minor changes, such as a different badge, were present. Japanese, American, and European Starions were all produced at the same factory in Okazaki, Aichi Prefecture in Japan. This car was intended to compete with sports cars such as the Nissan 300ZX, Toyota Celica-Supra, Mazda RX-7, and even the Germans, such as the Porsche 924 and 944. There are a few different theories about the origin of the model's name. Some claim that the name is a combination of the words star and Arion, the latter being a mythical horse from Greek mythology. Others believe that the car was originally supposed to be named Stallion, but the Japanese engineers, simply not having the L sound in Japanese speech, referred to it as Starion until it went into production. As I mentioned earlier, the Starion was based on the chassis of the Galant Lambda, from which it inherited McPherson's Trot front suspension, independent rear suspension, and disc brakes on all four wheels. Initially, it was sold on most markets only with the 2-liter 4-cylinder Series G63B engine, which was offered in both naturally aspirated and turbocharged versions, producing 145 horsepower and 135 foot-pounds of torque if equipped with a turbocharger. By the way, it's worth noting that the Starion was one of the first Japanese cars equipped with both the turbocharger and electronic fuel injection. In the expanse of the USA, where there weren't any strict taxes on engine displacement compared to Japan, the Starion was offered with a 2.6-liter Astron G54B, another turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 153 horsepower and 154 foot-pounds of torque, propelling the Starion from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.2 seconds. All engines drove the rear wheels, mostly through a 5-speed manual transmission, although a 4-speed automatic was also available in some certain markets. Because of the aforementioned tax, all trim levels of the Japanese Starion, except for the GSR VR introduced in 1987, were equipped with a 2-liter Sirius engine. In the base trim level called GX, available only during the first year of production, the engine was naturally aspirated and produced 108 horsepower, while the more powerful GSR-V, available from 1984 to 1987, featured a turbocharged 12-valve Sirius engine with a dual-action superhead system, or DASH for short, producing 197 horsepower. The Mitsubishi developed dash system involved a second intake valve in the combustion chamber, which was activated when the engine revved above 2,500 RPM, providing increased power and smoother operation. Speaking about the differences between Japanese and American models, I must mention the factory wide-body style introduced in 1985 and sold primarily in Europe and America. In Japan, most Starions were produced with the standard narrow body due to Japanese regulations on car dimensions that taxed larger vehicles. However, there were still wide-body Starions available in Japan. It's worth noting that along with the wide body, limited slip differentials and intercoolers were also introduced in 1985. The intercooler allowed the 2-liter engine to produce up to 178 horsepower and 157 foot-pounds of torque, thereby outperforming the 2.6-liter models in terms of power. The intercooled 2-liter Starion accelerated to 60 miles per hour in 7.6 seconds, making it a capable competitor to other sports cars of the time, outpacing the Nissan 300ZX, Toyota Celica-Supra, and Porsche 924, while lagging behind the Mazda RX-7 FC and Porsche 944. It's also worth talking about the achievements of the Starion in motorsport, as this car participated and showed outstanding results in both Group A and Group N races, as well as in Japanese touring car races and American endurance races organized by the SCCA, or the Sports Car Club of America. Seeing the success of the Starion, Mitsubishi decided to prepare the car for Group B competition by converting it to 4-wheel drive, installing a reinforced transfer case from the Mitsubishi Montero, also known as Pajero and Shogun in different regions. The updated configuration allowed the engine to be positioned further back in the chassis, giving the car an even better weight distribution than one of the Audi Quattro. Using alternative headlights instead of the factory pop-ups also allowed shortening the car's nose. Dubbed Starion 4-wheel drive, the car was initially developed with a 2-liter turbocharged Sirius engine, equipped with an intercooler, although later Mitsubishi planned to use the 12-valve Sirius dash. The 4-wheel drive prototype even participated in several races and achieved honorable positions, such as the first place in the Paris-Dakar Rally in 1983 in the experimental car class. However, the only factor preventing the 4-wheel drive Starion from progressing beyond the prototype stage was the scandalous closure of the Group B Rally in 1986. Not even homologation versions of the car were assembled. Sales of the Conquest/Starion didn't go as smoothly, with nearly 20,000 units sold in just the first 3 years in the United States alone, although the introduction of the wide body along with the intercooler clearly helped boost its sales, totaling to 14,578 cars sold from 1986 till 1989. In the same time period, 49,659 Starions were sold in Japan. The combined production of Starions and Conquests amounted to about 70,000 units, which sounds decent. However, the Mazda RX-7, for example, sold over 300,000 units in the United States alone from 1983 till 1989. During the final year of production, 1,961 Starions were sold in Japan and 686 cars were sold in the States. It was decided to cease production of the Starion. And while the story of the model ends here, despite being relatively unpopular, this particular model left a significant mark on the company's history. It was Mitsubishi's first genuine attempt at creating an innovative sports car, laying the foundation for the development of other sports cars of the company in the nearest future. For instance, the 4-wheel drive variant of the Starion, which didn't even go past the prototype stage, served as the basis for the legendary Lancer Evolution. The turbocharged Sirius G63T engine gained a second camshaft and also found its place under the hood of the new Evo. And the joint sales of the Starion or Conquest strengthened the bond between Chrysler and Mitsubishi, leading to the formation of the Diamond Star Motors in 1985, headquartered in Illinois. The alliance began assembling 3 cars on a single platform: the Mitsubishi Eclipse, Eagle Talon, and Plymouth Laser. And finally, the experience with technological innovations with the Starion served as the basis for its successor, none other than the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. a true Japanese supercar of its time, which was considered one of the most technologically advanced cars in the world. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the newest episodes. And I'll see you in the next one.